Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seegers, and this time we're joined by only Derek Binder since Ash is at EVO to discuss all the Smash Bros. Updates from this past week. So let's get started. Alright Derek, it's just like old times, just you and me. And this week was actually a fairly good one, I'd say. Nothing like insane, but some pretty good information here. Really more confirmation than anything for a lot of these things. So starting off on Monday, we get a look at the Mii Gunner at their side smash specifically. And Sakurai goes on to comment that it may be one of the longest reaching side smashes in the game. Which is pretty impressive if he's even factoring in Mega Man. Because Mega Man side smash is already one that is quite longer than most other characters. And then if Mii Gunner can overtake that, that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as soon as I saw this. It's like, really? Mega Man's already went out pretty far. So what? Yeah, the fact that Mii Gunner goes out even farther is like he's really changing up the rules with these smashes. But I have to wonder because looking at the picture here, it doesn't look like it'd be quite as powerful as Mega Man's side smash. Do you get that sense? Yeah,
that very well could be. It would kind of make sense, especially with how many projectiles we see coming off of this, assuming they don't all land. I mean, this is a very interesting side smash, actually. Is this one continuous attack? Like, if one hits you, do they all hit you? Or can you actually get out of it? Or can only a few of them hit you,
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It'd be interesting if it was a multi-hit smash, which is kind of different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because Mega Man has one solid blast, and this is just a lot of tiny ones, which I count 4 separate blasts here, but there might be even more because this is just a single solitary screen. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if it just spreads out and accumulates as you get hit more by it and does more damage that way, or if it's just a canned animation. It just so happens that when you pause it, it's separate like this.
Right, which could also be the case. And of course, to see Kirby just narrowly dodging the entire thing. He's like, "Oh my God, what's happening?"
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank God for that ledge.
Yeah, right. All right, moving on to Tuesday, we find out a couple of confirmations, well, potentially for Palutena. And the first is that what we thought was her up smash in your analysis was in fact her up smash, which is awesome. So good job, Derek.
Thank you.
Now this up smash is kind of insane because it has an insane reach. I mean, here we can see it, basically spanning the vertical, height of the screen.
Yeah, that thing is just pure power. Like this is basically a wall that gets put up between her and her opponent. So I can't imagine it lasting too long. So it might have to be very precise, at least to balance it out. But holy crap, it just looks impressive.
It does, right? And what is kind of interesting is Sakurai does mention Monday's picture being, hey, if you thought that was a far reach, check this out. Which kind of gives us an idea, like, even though we can kind of see it in the Mii's picture, but it just does go to show that the Mii's range won't be anywhere close to what this up smash is.
Yeah, because basically what you could do is, like, take this smash and just turn it horizontal.
Right.
And it goes, like, if you turn it horizontal...
That covers most of the arena.
Yeah, rough estimation, that's 3/4 of the arena. And I think at most, like they might get... I think, at least with Mega Man, he went through about half, if I can remember correctly. And I think with the Mii Gunner, they might go between somewhere between half and 3/4, just as varying these lengths out. But my God, that is an incredible reach, and yeah, it's very interesting because I saw a couple of people say that that one thing I labeled as her taunt would be her up smash since it uses her wings, and I had thought about that, but for some reason I could not place this up smash anywhere else. So it's like, well, it's a little different, but let's go for up smash, just because I couldn't really think of anything else for it. And nice to see that I was right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like how, I guess to put it bluntly, how annoying would this be to face in battle? Because like Zelda, for instance, in Brawl had a really good up smash, but that was still a comparatively limited range, and this thing is just almost literally off the charts. So.
Well, yeah. I remember, I played Lucas a bit, and I played other Lucas players, and Lucas's up smash is just so good.
Oh, that too.
That people use that all the time. So I think the thing that will help it out at least a little bit is the fact that it's not directly above her.
That's true.
I can't imagine it lasting too long. So it might be just a very quick blast, and you have to get the timing out really well.
You actually brought up an interesting point there. Is most up smashes, do cover that character's entire, the top portion of them. Like, you can't attack from that direction. But Palutena doesn't seem to have that advantage. I mean, it does basically, completely protect her on one side, but she's still vulnerable from the top and the other side completely. So it actually does seem like it may actually make her leave her more vulnerable than most other characters.
Yeah, it all comes down to positioning. Like, if you place it right and you're right there and getting in between you and your opponent, you're in good shape. But if it's like 4 players and you got some people from behind you, they can just capitalize on that real quick. So there is it feels like there's a nice balance here so far, at least from what we can guess looking at this picture. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. That's for sure. Now, we also got a second picture for this day, and this one shows off one of Palutena's specials, or one of her 12 specials, being the Heavenly Light. Now, this move, as we saw in the E3 footage, basically, he confirms that it causes a wide attack, but it's a no flinch attack. So while it'll damage anyone within that range, it won't actually affect your momentum at all. Very much like, Fox's Laser Blast in the more recent Smash Brothers games. So, this move, as we've commented before, I believe, is different from what we've seen, really for pretty much any character. Like, this is a gigantic range. I mean, at first glance, like, it almost looks more like a Final Smash. Only, with no knockback. But the main question is this one of her primary specials, or is this one of the ones you can choose from? Like, if you're playing with Palutena online, is this one you're going to see? Or if you're customizing her, is this going to be one of the options? And Sakurai doesn't really say. I mean, I'm inclined to think, purely based on the fact that he pointed this out, that it's a primary special, but I'm not so sure, because he already is going all out with all these characters. Maybe he basically considers all 12 moves to essentially be canon.
That could be. I mean, when I first saw this, my first thought was, oh, okay, this is the primary attack, which I believe I had estimated wrong, if I can remember mine right.
Well, no, well, in your analysis, you said this would be the light attack. And you had a different attack as her primary.
Yeah, I believe I had her. I believe I had her Celestial Firework as her primary, which would make me wrong in this case, but that happens.
Well, we have plenty of disclaimers in that video. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I was really upfront. I was like, I am totally guessing here, so going based off what I can tell, what I can see. But yeah, that's why, because you really don't know what could be primary. And like you said, this still might not be the primary, but usually when Sakurai is showing off alternate attacks, he labels them as such. He'll say like, okay, this is what this attack is, but he hasn't come out and said what Palutena's is, so we have to. It is still not 100% guaranteed. But that's the thing about Palutena. As I was looking at her moves, is like I like all 12 of her moves, so I wouldn't really mind any combination being, her basically her moveset. So, if this is her primary attack, I'm all for it, because it's very different. It's all about. It seems like Palutena is all about controlling specific areas. If you notice. It's very much controlling, like with her up smash, it's about controlling people in front of her. With the special, it's like if you get into my space, you're going to get damaged, and I can do even more from that.
Definitely an unusual attack, which seems to be kind of par for the course so far for her. Yeah, I mean, I think, although I agreed with your assessment originally that the Celestial Firework made more sense from a practicality standpoint, I think this one looks cool. I mean, I think this one is a better fit for her as a primary move. I don't know. I just think it better represents the character than the firework one. But I don't know. We still don't know, for sure which way this is going to go. Although I do think it's probably her primary.
I think I saw it pointed out that like if you look at the little photo with Kirby in her outfit, his positioning kind of does resemble her positioning during this attack. So that might be further evidence, or it might just be coincidence. Hard to say, but it is, interesting all the same.
Moving on to Wednesday's picture, we get another look at the Dark Emperor from the Find Mii stage, and Sakurai actually elaborates on how this is going to work this time. So, like in the game, the Dark Emperor will be able to cast spells, but there's something interesting about this, because Sakurai says that just like in the original game, the Dark Emperor can cause status effects based on the fighter's color. And then he goes on to say red types generally get powered up. Now, that's a little bit confusing because I'm pretty sure in the original game it didn't work exactly like that. Yeah, the Dark Emperor, I think, could cast spells, but they weren't dependent on what, colors your Mii were. Instead, the colors your Mii would dictate, what spell you did and whether you're resistant to certain things, like certain status effects already going on in a room. But, putting that aside, this is pretty interesting. Having the Dark Lord cast spells that will affect different characters in different ways. Yeah, what do you think about this?
No, it is interesting because it's so different. We always assumed that the Dark Emperor would act more like a boss in the same vein as the Yellow Devil, and that doesn't seem to be the case at all. I mean, I don't even know if there's going to be any actual direct interaction with the Dark Emperor. Instead, he might just randomly do these status changes based on the color.
I mean, it's possible. It also could just be a mixture of the two. Where he does cast spells and then you can attack him at certain points too. Perhaps that's what changes, maybe that causes him to cast new spells. Or it could be tied to the Mii in the cage, as you mentioned. Maybe freeing that causes the Dark Emperor to get kind of uppity or whatever and cast a new spell. But yeah, I mean, at the least, it does seem like he might be taking a bit more of a background role than, say, the Yellow Devil boss, which is probably a good thing. Although I think we have seen him pretty close to the arena, so I would be surprised if you're not able to fight him in some way, especially because that's what you're supposed to do in the game itself. Find Mii.
Well, I think you noted even before we started talking here is that the villager has a red outline and the Mii doesn't. Now, this might be a preference thing where the villager chose to have a more prominent outline for their character, and whoever was playing the Mii did not. Or it could indicate that they're actually getting powered up by the Dark Emperor at that point. So maybe the other players can attack the Dark Emperor in order to negate the status changes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. It's definitely possible. Yeah, the outline thing is kind of interesting, because it does remind me of the Pac-Man stage, where when you get the power pellet, you get an outline as well. So I'm guessing that's the case here too, just denoting that she's powered up. But there's one thing I do wonder is, because it does seem to be based on the primary colors of your character, is how are you going to know what color that is? And then for some characters that'll be obvious, like Mario is going to be red. In fact, for most of them it'll probably be obvious. But what about for some other characters, like Bowser, for instance, just off the top of my head? I don't think that's quite as readily apparent, especially once you start taking custom costumes into account, or palette swaps. What's going to be the dominant color then? Will that change depending on what you're wearing? I'm guessing it would. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of unknown factors here. I mean, it's a very interesting concept, the fact that they got this guy powering you up throughout the match, and we're not quite sure how he decides how to do it, or how it's what gets decided, because there's especially with the Mii fighter being there, it's always red tie, wearing a red shirt. So how maybe all 12 colors could be affected. Maybe it's more limited to just 4 colors. I mean, it's really hard to say. All
12 Mii colors, you're saying, that you choose from in the Mii creator? Or?
Yes, when the Mii creator, and you have all those different power options during the Find Mii.
Yeah, I guess it would make sense for the Dark Emperor to stick to that color scheme. Now, I think there's something else you brought up earlier too, Derek, before we recorded this, and that is by having as Sakurai says here, for instance. Having the red type, the red types generally get powered up. That seems like a pretty good thing. So would that not influence who you're playing as, or what color scheme you might decide to go with?
Yeah, I think it would actually. I mean, I think once players find out what the best, power up is, they'll generally gravitate toward that. Now, of course, for some people it won't matter at all, especially if you choose random stages and you just go with your favorites, and this is what happens. So, but there is an underlying possibility that people will choose a character or color based on what they want. And I mean, not that there's anything inherently wrong with that, but it is something they probably have to consider. And so I have a feeling that however they get powered up, will be taken into consideration with that sort of thing.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit of an odd way of doing it, instead of just making it completely random. Like, why do red types generally get powered up, as opposed to just having them cast a random color spell and just having that affect whoever, and in whichever way they decide. But who knows, maybe there's a spell that he casts that is really bad for red types to counteract that powered up thing occasionally.
That could be.
It does say generally, it doesn't say all the time, so that does mean it's not going to be consistent. I don't know why I sung that. Only one more point about this freakishly in-depth picture is the Mii fighter here can be seen wearing the Mii Force helmet. Which is cool. That's a neat little reference to, one of the downloadable, Spot Pass or, Street Pass games. But something else cool about that, and that's one of the helmets you can actually wear, for your Mii. So does that mean, like, other helmets you've unlocked? Or maybe, perhaps they've unlocked in Street Pass, or, will they be available here too? Maybe they'll just have them all available by default.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be a nice little reward for those who have done Street Pass to be able to use their, helmets and whatever else, whatever other kind of hats they've unlocked in the multiplayer. I mean, that's another great way of representing Street Pass and encouraging people to Street Pass if they can. However, for people who are unable to Street Pass and are not in, busier areas or able to go to conventions or that sort of thing and have not unlocked those helmets, it also would be kind of nice to be able to just choose your favorite helmet based on that. So I'm not sure how they'll work it. I can see both sides working. What would you prefer?
I think it'd be cooler if they're tied to the unlocks. Even though I've long since given up on them. I think that'd be cool though. Just give you another, it allows you to use it outside just purely the context of Street Pass. And since I no longer care about Street Pass, that'd be cool. It gives you just another little extra incentive to do it. So. Because I really just want to wear a Virtual Boy hat out on the battlefield. If I can do that, if I can wear my Virtual Boy, I'm good. Or a pipe head.
There you go.
Alright, well, moving on to Thursday, and actually speaking of costumes, we get a look at 2 new color schemes, or texture swaps, or costumes, whatever you want to call them, for Mario and Samus, respectively. Samus, probably the slightly less interesting of the two, but we can see she gets her light suit from Metroid Prime 2, which is cool. Nice to see that represented here. The cooler one, though, is Mario, who gets outfitted with his outfit from NES Open Tournament Golf. Including the, star... He's basically an American flag, which is kind of awesome.
No, I mean... Obviously, this made a lot of news when it came out. People were talking about the Stars and Stripes Marios, and I seen people do some photos where it's for fun, for glory, and now it's for fun. I think for America is the other one. So people are obviously having a lot of fun with this one, with Mario being in the Stars and Stripes. But no, what I'm really liking from this is how they're actually getting into costumes. They're kind of palette swaps and stuff like that, and we saw it with Link and Little Mac last week, just being all these different costumes. But it's so nice to see them more directly referencing other costumes that these characters have had over the years. And I don't know about you, but I had no idea. I did not predict at all that the NES Open Tournament Golf outfit for Mario would show up.
Well, I don't think anyone thought that. It's cool to see it here. I mean, it's one of his earlier appearances, and perhaps one of his first alts, alt costumes, really. That is cool to see, and now they just have to make a Mario Golf course or stage in Smash Brothers, and he's set to go.
Yeah, there you go. Now I wonder, as we're looking around, I was curious to see how closely it matched his original the original design, and I found a picture that shows Luigi also in sort of a Stars and Stripes, just green. So I wonder if Luigi will get that outfit as well, and Peach has a short skirt version of her dress, better suited for golf. So I wonder if they'll get any sort of more NES Open Golf related costumes.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I am curious to see whether what other references they can pull out of their hat here for the rest of the characters. I mean, because they're going to open it up. There's really a ton more they could do with a bunch of them, and just really make it way more interesting than just a simple palette swap.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to Friday, we get an update on Pac-Man, and we find out that some of the odd objects we saw in the trailer based on Namco franchises is actually part of his Up taunt. And we actually see a variety of them here, specifically 7 spread across 2 pictures. And I think you know what these all are, right, Derek?
Well, first of all, in the bigger picture, we have Mappy, of course, returning once again. In the top left of the second picture, we have the Sovolo from Xevious. Puka's once again from Dig Dug, the Red Baron from Sky Kid, the Galaga ship, of course, a much more recent game in the form of Dawn from Taito Drum Master, and then Clovis from Dragon Buster in the bottom right. So just a very nice mix, and adding in all the characters we saw before. It's really cool to see all these Namco references pop up and just be related to Pac-Man, and I'm kind of wondering if there'll be even more references. Like, will he, like we got Taito Drum Master, will he bring up everybody went Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia? Will Lloyd show up in like an 8-bit form, or will somebody from Soul Calibur or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, that'd be awesome. Actually, I don't know how they do it. Probably wouldn't work, but I will say first off, I really like that they're referencing other Namco characters. I mean, we talked about that before. I think I do like it even better knowing now it's within the context of a taunt rather than a move. Just because I think it makes more sense. Like, I like that his core moveset is, just Pac-Man stuff primarily, for the most part. And the other Namco stuff is left as a taunt, where it doesn't really affect anything, but it's still a cool reference.
Yeah, I tend to agree, because Pac-Man would have been a very there would have been a lot to know about him if he had all those different Namco characters popping up. You have to know how each one works, how it all does. It makes it a bit more complicated, and Smash Brothers is generally known for its simplicity, limiting it just the fruit, and then you have the charging up to the Galaxian ship, for a bit more of a trickier shot. It makes sense to just keep it limited to that. It's generally I think it's probably a better idea, like you, to just keep it to taunts.
Alright, I think that wraps up for this week's Smash discussion, so thanks guys for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplained, which you can find links to in the description below. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplained.com for more on Smash Brothers, Wii U, and 3DS, and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye. Alright.